There's a question that's been stuck in my head since Chapter 5 ended, and I think it might be one of the most important things this franchise has ever asked us to consider. Can the experiments be reversed? Like, actually reversed. Not killed, not neutralized, not put out of their misery. Can you take something like Catnap or Mommy Longlegs or Huggy Wuggy and turn them back into the person they used to be? Because the game keeps giving us these tiny, almost cruel hints that the people inside the toys are still there. Theodore fought for 49 days to hold on to his own name. Lily Lovebraids takes care of a skeleton she doesn't consciously recognize as her own body. Mommy Longlegs retained a motherly personality that echoes Marie Payne's trauma. And the prototype, Oliver Ludwig, still uses fragments of his childhood self to manipulate everyone around him. These aren't empty shells. Something human is still alive in there, scratching at the walls. So I want to go through everything we know, everything the game has shown us about how these transformations actually work, and try to answer whether reversal is even possible. And honestly, I'm not sure the answer is going to be comforting either way, because if it can be reversed, that raises a whole new set of questions that might be even harder to deal with. They remember. I want to start with something that genuinely unsettled me. During Catnap's conditioning, the researchers asked him his name, and he said it. Theodore. My name is Theodore. Over and over. They kept running the brainwashing sessions, kept pushing, and at some point, weeks later, when they asked again, he started to say like he was about to say Theodore. Then he caught himself. The name is Catnap, not my name. The name. Like he was reading someone else's script, like the words didn't belong to him. It took 49 days of relentless psychological pressure before Theodore officially stopped responding to his own name. 49 days. If it takes that long to bury an identity, that identity didn't disappear. It's still in there. But this is where things get worse, because Catnap isn't even the strongest example. Lily Lovebraids. If you played Chapter 5, maybe you noticed something deeply wrong about her dollhouse. There's a skeleton inside. And Lily, this childlike doll creature, takes care of it. She brushes where its hair used to be, tells it to go back to sleep, says no one is going to hurt you anymore. She doesn't know whose skeleton it is, but we do. It's hers. It's the body of Gracie Green, the woman Lily used to be before the prototype had her transformed and subjected to her own brainwashing videos for 122 days until her mind fractured. Lily doesn't consciously remember being Gracie, but some fragment, some buried piece of the person she used to be is reaching through the conditioning and caring for her own remains. And that changes everything about the reversal question. Because if identity survives the conditioning, if it's buried but not destroyed, then theoretically, you could dig it back up. But here's the thing. Even if the mind can be recovered, can the body? That's a completely different problem. And to answer it, we need to understand what the transformation actually does. What the transformation does to the body. The process isn't as simple as they put a person inside a toy. It's layered, and each layer is its own kind of horror. Everything starts with the poppy gel. Elliot Ludwig created the original version using compounds from poppy flowers, a substance that encourages cellular regeneration so aggressively that it can revive the dead. He tested it on animals first, then on a boy named Oliver. Experiment 1006. The prototype, then on his own dead daughter, Poppy Ludwig. Experiment 1007. Both were created with Ludwig's original formula. Both are described as truly immortal. Remember that word, immortal. It's going to matter later. After Ludwig died, his formula was lost. Playtime Company tried to recreate it and produced something called the growth medium. Same basic idea, but volatile. Without control, it would force tissue to grow past the body's physical limits, bones through skin, organs flooding with blood, death in seconds. So they developed a counteragent, the Negation Compound, a chemical that could neutralize the gel and stop the growth. The actual procedure went like this. Take a human, usually an orphan selected through the game station tests, extract their organs surgically, transfer those organs into a toy body, submerge the whole thing in poppy gel. Over weeks, mutated muscles, veins, and teeth would grow into the synthetic frame. Then, apply the negation compound to stop the growth before it spiraled. And then came the second phase, the part that might be an even bigger obstacle to reversal than the surgery itself, the conditioning. After the physical transformation, every experiment went through psychological conditioning run by Gracie Green, brainwashing sessions disguised as children's educational videos, bright colors, friendly language, words like safe, and be a toy repeated in loops. The goal was total identity erasure, make them forget they were ever human. And if an experiment resisted, if a kid kept remembering who they used to be, Gracie sent them to the bad toy box, which basically meant death. So the transformation has two layers. a physical one that rewrites the body, and a psychological one that tries to erase the mind. Reversing the body means nothing if there's no person left inside to save. But we've already seen the evidence. The conditioning doesn't fully work. Theodore fought it for 49 days. Gracie herself resisted for 122 days, longer than any child ever managed, before her adult brain finally cracked. Mommy Longlegs retained a motherly personality that mirrors Marie Payne's trauma, and the prototype, Oliver Ludwig, still uses fragments of his childhood self to manipulate everyone around him. And this detail changes everything, because if the mental side of the transformation is reversible, then the question is purely scientific. Can the body be undone? The Negation Compound. Chapter 5 gave us something huge, and I don't think enough people are paying attention to it. The Negation Compound. The scientists at Playtime Company developed this chemical to counteract the poppy gel. Its documented functions are to create, modify, and neutralize the growth medium. That word in the middle is the one that keeps me up at night. Modify. Neutralize makes sense. You shut down the gel, the biological processes stop, the experiment dies. That's a weapon, not a cure. But modify? That implies you could change what the poppy gel does without destroying it. You could redirect its function. And if the gel can grow tissue into a toy frame, could a modified version grow tissue back into a human form? I know that's speculative, but the game put that word there. Modify. It feels deliberate. And then there's the master backup. Chapter 5's entire mission revolves around finding it. Giblet tells us the prototype can't be killed by normal means because the growth medium lets him regenerate. The negation compound is the only counter. But when the player finally reaches the data center, the backup doesn't just contain a chemical formula. It contains Harley Sawyer, the scientist who designed the Bigger Bodies initiative, uploaded his consciousness into a digital backup. And now, he's sitting inside a computer screen, staring at us, with all the knowledge of the transformation process locked in his head. If reversal is scientifically possible in this universe, Sawyer is the one person who could figure out how. The game just put the two things you'd need for reversal, the formula and the scientist, directly in the player's hands. That's not a coincidence, that's setup. The poppy gel scene. Okay, now I need to talk about the moment at the end of Chapter 5 that nobody can fully explain yet, because I think it's directly connected to the reversal question in a way most people aren't considering. At the climax of the chapter, the prototype stabs the player. Then he picks them up and drops them into a vat of poppy gel. On the surface, it looks like an execution. Drown them and walk away. But the gel doesn't kill the player. It heals them. Giblet pulls them out, delivers an electric shock, and the stab wound is gone. The player survives. But something doesn't add up. The prototype knows how poppy gel works. He's been consuming it for years. He knows it has regenerative properties, so why would he drop someone into a substance that he knows can heal? Some people say it was careless, a mistake, but the prototype has been described as cunning and intelligent across every single chapter. Carelessness doesn't fit, which means he did it on purpose. He wanted the player exposed to the gel. The game doesn't confirm whether the player is still fully human after the submersion. Giblet doesn't mention any physical changes, but research notes found throughout the chapter are very specific about the gel's mutagenic properties. The player wasn't splashed, they were submerged, and the notes say that organisms removed quickly from the gel could recover with their injuries healed. So maybe the player got out fast enough, or maybe they didn't. If the player is even partially transformed, the reversal question stops being theoretical. It becomes personal. It's no longer about saving Catnap or Mommy Longlegs, it's about saving yourself. And if the game is building toward a finale where the protagonist has to face their own transformation, then reversal isn't just a theory, it's the endgame. The Immortality Problem. Remember when I told you to remember the word immortal? Here's why. Poppy and the prototype were created with Ludwig's original poppy gel, the real formula, and it made them truly immortal. The later growth medium, the version Playtime Co. recreated after Ludwig died, doesn't seem to grant the same permanence. Catnap was killed. Mommy Longlegs was killed. They can die. That difference matters enormously for the reversal question. If you reverse the transformation on an experiment created with the growth medium, maybe the human tissue underneath can survive without the gel. The biological state is more fragile, more dependent. Strip the gel away in a controlled manner, and there might be something left to save. But Poppy and the prototype, they're different. Poppy Ludwig died as a child. The original gel is what brought her back. If you reverse her transformation, you're not returning her to a normal life. You're returning her to death. Same with Oliver. The gel is the only thing keeping either of them alive. So reversal might be possible for some experiments and impossible for others. And that partial answer is honestly more devastating than a clean yes or no. Would reversal be a mercy? This is the part I've been avoiding. Because even if the science works, even if someone figures out how to undo the poppy gel and restore a human body, there's a question underneath all of it that I don't have a good answer to. Let's say you bring back Theodore Gramble. He was 7 when they turned him into catnap. He spent years as a skeletal cat that kidnapped children with hallucinogenic gas. He worshipped the prototype as a god. He killed people. If you restore his memory, you're handing a child the full weight of everything he did, every person he dragged into the dark, every act of violence in the prototype's name. You're not saving Theodore. You're giving him a new prison made entirely of guilt. Marie Payne's situation might be worse. She was already suffering before the transformation. Nightmares, paranoia, exposure to catnap's red smoke that shattered what was left of her mental state. Then, she spent years running the game station, overseeing the tests that decided which children would be selected for the next surgery. If she remembers all of that, the girl who was never protected now has to live knowing she became part of the machine that hurt other children, the same way she was hurt. And then, there's Dowie the Doman. 3 children fused into one body. Kevin Barnes, Matthew Howard, Jack Ayers. If you reverse the process, do you get 3 separate people? Can you even separate them? Jack was already dead before the fusion. He fell into a dough vat during a factory tour. His parents were probably in the gift shop. If you reverse Dowie, is Jack just dead again? These questions don't have answers, and I think the game knows that. The prototype's angle. There's one more layer that makes this whole thing even more complicated, and it might be the most unsettling part. The prototype has been absorbing dead and dying experiments. Mommy Longlegs after the grinder, Catnap after the fire, and after Chapter 5, probably Huggy Wuggy and Kissy Missy too. His body now apparently features the arms of multiple experiments sprouting from his torso. He's collecting parts, building something. His own experiment notes describe the process. The growth medium desires to grow, and the negation formula desires to destroy. He's trying to find the balance between those two forces, trying to crack the code that made him and Poppy immortal. And here's the part that gave me chills. If the prototype succeeds, if he actually figures out how to perfectly control the Poppy gel, then the technology for reversal exists inside him. The same knowledge that creates immortality could theoretically undo the transformation entirely. The prototype might be the key to reversing everything, and also the last person in the world who would ever want to, because reversing the experiments would mean undoing himself. And Oliver Ludwig has spent his entire existence fighting against being undone.